All right, item 40 on the May agenda, grand jury report, second one in less than a year. And this one gets into how the city is operating. So what they did, they spent months looking at how things work across the city. Permitting, inspections, variance applications, internal processes, how departments interact, how the planning board functions. They went through applications, site plans, memos, staffing reports. This is detailed. What they found on structure, they're looking at the organization chart and basically saying there are too many layers. More management layers means slower decisions. It also makes it harder to know who's actually responsible when something goes wrong. They even ask if there are too many managers for the number of employees we have. Then there's the rules. This is the LDR conversation. They're saying that the code has inconsistencies and contradictions. It does. They give an example where one section restricts something and another section reads it allows it. So people are trying to follow the rules and the rules don't line up. That turns into delays and extra costs because now you need someone to interpret it for you. So we have the planning board. This is where I want to slow down for a second because a lot of decisions are shaped there before they ever get to the commission. The report says there are no specific qualifications required to serve on the planning board. At the same time, that board is making decisions that shape land use and growth in this city. They also walk through a specific case. An application comes in. The verification forms say everything is accurate. It wasn't. Staff caught that. Staff recommended pulling it or postponing it. That didn't happen. The applicant was still allowed to present, and the board started to discuss it anyway. I was there for this. Again, I think that we do not have enough information to rule on these. We need drawings that show exactly what is there to understand whether or not these variances can be granted. We just don't have enough information, and I think staff is doing a great job, and I think that they have given us ample reason to postpone this to November. So that's what the report is talking about. That's not about opinions. That's about the process. The report says when applications are incomplete like that, it undermines the integrity of the review process, obviously. And they ask a pretty basic question. If the application wasn't ready, why was it on the agenda? They also point out that the planning board decisions are often irreversible. Once those decisions are made, they shape the city long term. So if the process isn't solid, you don't get a second shot at it. Back in December at the strategic planning meeting, I pushed for ongoing education for the planning board. Not just an ethics training, but ongoing to understand the city's goals so decisions actually line up with them. That's still needed. And LDRs. The report is clear that the codes need a full review, not small edits here and there, which is how we got in this situation. We need a real review of inconsistencies, redundancies, gaps. That's been pushed off for a long time. Now for the recommendation. They aren't vague. So they suggested creating a reorganization committee made up of residents to study staffing and structure and bring back recommendations within 6 months. They suggest a regulation review committee to go through the building and planning codes and propose changes to fix what's not working. They recommend training requirements for planning board members. They recommend making sure applications are complete before they ever get on the agenda. They recommend stronger verification so inaccurate information isn't getting through. Now, the response from the city manager. He says a lot of this is already being worked on internally. He does not support creating citizen committees. He points to internal reviews and the budget process as the way this will be handled. Here's where this becomes something to watch. What the grand jury is recommending is public facing. What the response is describing is internal first, then presented later. Those are two different approaches. In an email to the city manager, Commissioner Kaufman pushes back on that. He says internal review is not a substitute for public engagement, and it isn't. and that these are policy decisions that should involve the commission and the community. So right now, we don't know which direction this goes. This is a discussion item. If you want to be part of it, item 40, Thursday, May 7th at 9 a.m. Read the grand jury report, send comments, and show up to speak. And this will be at the mayor's discretion if the public gets to speak on this directly. If I'm on the commission, this all gets handled in the public eye. You don't take something like this and keep it internal. You open it up. You let people see the process as it's happening. We have a lot of talent in this city. People who understand planning, construction, law, environment, preservation. That should be a part of the process. That's what citizen review boards are for. And LDRs move up. Because if the rules don't make sense, everything built on top of them keeps running into the same issues as it has for decades. The more people understand what's happening, the better this city works. That's the kind of leadership that I believe in. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to make sure that you have what you need to be a part of these decisions.